Well, welcome everyone, welcome Port Geeks. Here we are today for another live session here at School of Port. I'm Nicole, I'm a Port Wine educator, and I'll be with you today for this exciting live session. We have a very interesting subject today. We'll be talking about port and glassware. So as you probably imagine, port is a very complex wine, and the glassware you're drinking your wine obviously makes a huge difference. So glassware definitely changes your perception on the wine that you're drinking. That's exactly what we will be talking about today. Things like temperatures, materials, shape and size they play a massive role on your perception, so how you feel and how you taste the wine. And to understand this subject a bit better, we will be talking about we'll be talking with Duarte Machado, who'll join us in a second. He's the Portuguese brand manager of Riedel, Portugal. So this is obviously the most renowned glassware company in the world, and we'll be learning with him how the glass and the shape and the size changes your perception in wine, and how to know exactly which one is the right glass for you to have. And as usual, this session will last approximately 25 minutes, half an hour. Don't forget to send your messages and your comments throughout the live for us to reply at the end. So without further ado, let me to join us, as I said, is the brand manager of Riedel, Portugal. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Duarte. How are you?
Good. And you?
Fine, thanks. So welcome, and thanks for having accepted our invitation. It's going to be a very interesting live. This is one of my favorite subjects because I know that we'll learn a lot from you. So the first thing that I would like to ask, and this is, I guess, one of the questions that a lot of people at home ask themselves, is what are the basic features of a quality wine glass and why?
The first feature, of course, is the wine. We cannot change it, but we can use some tools like the glassware to enhance the aroma and the quality of the product. But when we talk about wine glass, we have to focus in a fine rim, first of all, because of the surface of contact, and then we have to be proper fine crystals, so we can look and admire the colors, and we can have a perception of the colors of the wine. It's quite important when we taste the wine to see the evolution, if it's a red, what type of red it is, if it's a grape with a lot of concentration or less concentration. Also, in our case, Riedel, we have great varietal glasses. We develop along the years several glasses to several grapes. Of course, this is not always 100% match, but in most of the cases they work. Another thing is quite important, and some people do not think about it, is the balance of the glass. To have a proper taste, we have to focus in a fine rim, we have to focus in the shape, because we cannot change the shape of the wine is made, but we can change how our perception of that wine can be. And it is very quite important, because if you, for example, choose one glass or one wine, different glasses, your experience has to be different. It can be better or can be worse, depends on our own taste, of course, and our experience of the wines. But the shape is quite important, because it can change radically. The same wine can change for better, it can change for worse.
Right. Now that you've said that, and now that we know which are what we have to look for in a quality wine glass, I would like to ask you something that has to do with port wine specifically. Port is normally drunk in one of those short tulip-sized shaped glasses. Yep. And my question is, like a dessert glass, and my question is that the right glass to be drinking port, or would you say that we have been doing this all wrong?
Not all wrong, because the glass that we developed for the port wine does a marvelous work. But sometimes we feel that depending on the style of ports, if we're talking about the ruby, or about the tawny, or about the white, some of the aromas can be lost in this type of glass. So I think the best thing to do is, if you have the chance to try the same wine in different glasses, that's the first thing. And then you have to, for example, if you are tasting a ruby or a young ruby, you want fruit, you want power, you want some freshness also. So I think we need a little bit larger bowl, okay? And if you want to drink a tawny or a white port, normally wines with more acidity, you don't need so much bigger bowls, but a less one to enhance all the aromas and all the finesse of the wine.
So you're actually considering the possibility of not always using a port wine glass, right?
Yes, of course, yes. And the tasting that we are going to do, I think we'll prove a little bit, because we are going to do the tasting at the same time I'm doing. And we are going to see that one glass can enhance for a fruity aroma, then another a little bit more oak, other more, depends on the wine. So the best thing to do is to taste. Of course, it's difficult. As Max really says, always good idea to taste our favorite wines from different glasses.
Yeah.
That's the best example we can give to our customers and to people that enjoy wine. So I think if you can do the tasting now, as we are going to do, and the people at home can try this type of taste, they will do it. They will think, okay, the people from School of Port and from reading, they are true. Okay, we can have different experience with different glasses with the same wine. So I think it can be very, very interesting.
Before we move into this tasting experience, I would like just to ask a final question, which is, before in the introduction I said that things like shape and size change deeply the perception that we have of the wines. I didn't really explain why. I was waiting for you to come to the live to explain to those who are watching how is that a thing? Like, how does that work? How shape and size and these different variables that we talked about before actually change your perception in the wines?
If we start by the shape is what commands the liquid to enter in our mouth. So some glasses, they can throw the wine for the sides part of our mouth. Another glass of wine can put the wine directly in your tongue. So that's the first big difference, is the way the wine goes to your mouth. And then the way they enter in your mouth, and if they go directly, or if they enter and they evolve more in your mouth, makes the tasting quite different, because of it's always about the way. Because if you see this glass, this type of shape, you will see that the wine will go through your tongue. And if you use, for example, this glass, the wine goes like all these parts of the mouth, and it goes to like when you explain how it works the tongue. In some parts you feel the sugar, some parts you feel the acidity, some parts you feel the tannins. So these glasses make the wine the direction we want them to make. Of course, we have to think about the style of the wine we are drinking. And then
that's really interesting.
Sorry,
go ahead.
And then the size of the glass is quite important, because the size of the glass is where the wine it is, and the rest of the part is air. So we did the wines to breed, but some wines doesn't need to breed so much. They have to be like they are. So we have to use that type of glass. We need, the wines the glasses are too big. The wine will breed more, of course. In some wines could be amazing, and some wines could be a disaster. So, and then because of the surface of air is quite important, because the way the wine goes with its shape and then the size, the length can be can generate different tasting. If you pick this glass, the Cabernet Sauvignon with this shape, and use a bigger Cabernet, for example, an XL size, we have to pour more wine in XL glass to have the same taste as to have in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be important that, because if you put, for example, a little quantity of wine in the glass, you can taste, of course, you can smell it, but it cannot give you the total idea of the wine it is. But if it's too full, of course, we cannot have an idea, because the wine doesn't have air to breathe and to grow. So to put, normally to have a proper taste in each glass, put a little bit less than the middle. So the wine can breathe a lot, or what they need, so we can do the proper taste. Another thing is important is in the shape. If the bowl is opened or more narrow, where is more open is quite important. Is to wines with oak or with bigger tannins, because they are more heavy wines. So they need more air to breathe, and to be more balanced, they need more air. So we give them more space to grow inside of the glass.
That's really fascinating what you're saying. I think probably most people don't think about that before drinking a wine. And before, you were talking about the direction, like where the wine goes when you drink it, and which parts of your tongue would be in contact with the wine. That's really interesting, because we know that sweetness is mostly felt in the front area of the tongue. We know that, for example, acidity is mostly felt on the sides of the tongue. We know that bitterness would be on the back, central part of the tongue. The umami is also in the back and central part of the tongue. So it's really interesting how you can have exactly the same wine, but depending on where you're like driving the wine to,
yeah.
Where it's going to touch your tongue, you're going to have completely different experiences. So it's quite fascinating. Thanks for this lesson, Duarte. Now I would like to say that we're going to move to this tasting experiment part. It's a real fun part of today's session, and we're going to apply what we just learned with Duarte and see in reality how different the wines will feel according to the shapes and sizes of the glasses. So for you that are watching us at home, I strongly challenge you to grab a few wines if you have, and a few different glasses, different sizes, different shapes, and let Duarte guide us through this journey and understand exactly how the shape of the glasses and the size of the glasses will change our perception in the wines. So we have selected 3 completely different ports, 3 different styles. I'm going to show you guys what we have selected. Me and Duarte, we have both the same wine, so we'll do this experiment live for you to see. So we have selected a white port, which will be the first wine that we'll taste. Then we selected a ruby port, which will be the second wine that we'll taste. And then we'll have a 10-year-old tawny, which will be the third and last wine that we taste. So as you can see, 3 completely different styles. And we're going to taste them in a lot of different glasses. I'm going to show you a couple of the glasses that we have here. So we have this one, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, Duarte, the Riedel for Cabernet Sauvignon. So it has the wider balloon. Then we also have the Syrah one, which is this one, right? Then we have the Riesling.
And Sauvignon
We
Blanc.
have the Sauvignon Blanc. And then we have two port glasses. One which is a Riedel glass and the other one which is a common glass found in pretty much all the shops. So let's do this. Guide us, Duarte. What should we do first?
We have five glasses. As Nicole said, we have a classic tasting port wine used in most of the cellars. We have, if you see the style, this one is a little bit more narrow. This one is a real port glass. Then the Sauvignon Blanc, okay. Then we have the Syrah, and then we're going to use Cabernet. After first, me and Nicole think about doing with less glasses, but the best thing to understand these glasses is to use, for example, this first wine, the white, in all five glasses, and to see the difference. In some cases, we are going to prefer the nose. In other cases, the mouth, or no one. We are not going to like the glass we are choosing. But that's why this is interesting to see where these Riedel glasses can take us, and where these Riedel glasses can take the wines we love so much, and which sensation that they pass to us. So, Nicole, let's start with the first one, okay?
Yeah, we'll start with the white.
Yeah, let's put a little bit in the five glasses, please.
Duarte, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to walk after this live.
No, you have to spit.
Oh Jesus! All right. So,
the first thing.
what are we tasting first?
The first thing is let's smell all the five glasses, okay?
All right. Do you suggest any particular order for the filling the aromas first?
Classic one, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then with the Riedel port, then with the Sauvignon Blanc, then with the glass for Shiraz, and then the glass for Cabernet Sauvignon.
So narrower to wider.
Yeah. And the short one to the biggest one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love this. All right.
Okay. So let's do it.
Okay.
First, smell all the five.
All right. I'm doing that. Okay. It's curious. I'm going on the third glass and I'm already feeling the difference.
Yes. I have a little light problem. It is going
Lights out.
Yeah. Only 30 seconds already. I don't know what happened. Let me see if I can do a little bit with this. No, it's the general panel, sorry. But the first thing we know is the wines that we don't like, the glasses that we don't like with this wine. If you go to, for example, you will feel a little more oxidation, a little less fruity, a little more reductive. And if you go to the Sauvignon Blanc, you feel the fruit, you feel the finesse. So, I don't know what happened with light, sorry.
Well, no problem. Are you going to be able to continue with us, Duarte?
Yes, I will continue. Of course, I will continue. Even with the blackouts, I can do it. So, and if you go,
These
for
things
example,
happen.
the two typical port glasses, the classic one from the tastings, and the one from real port. If you feel the nose, I think this type of wine, the whites, can get better with a more narrow form. Why is that? Because they have more acidity, more freshness. What we want is this type of wine. The herbal part is not feeling the alcohol, because, as you know, in ports, glass is quite open, you will feel the alcohol spirit. And in this case, and then if you see this, the Cabernet, the Sauvignon Blanc and the Riedel Port, the shape is quite similar. Not the same, but it's quite similar. And if you feel it, you feel the same aroma in the Sauvignon Blanc than in the second glass of Riedel Port, but it's much more quite open, much more fresh, much more vivid.
Yeah.
And if you go to the Shiraz, you don't feel the fruitiness because if you see the water,
No.
we need to have this narrow form to all the terpenic, all the volatile aromas. You will feel more with this type of glass. This glass, for example, needs more breathing. As we see, the body of the glass is more rounder. You have more space the wine can breathe. And now, the most important thing is not only the taste, not only the smell, but the taste. So, what I suggest now is for you, you taste a little bit of the 5 glasses, and then you tell me which one you prefer more. Okay?
Wow.
No,
By myself?
not by yourself. I will help you, but I don't think you will need help.
Before I start to taste, just by the nose, what was your favorite glass?
I'm in between the Riedel Port and in the Sauvignon glass.
My favorite, without a doubt, was the Sauvignon Blanc. Just on the nose.
Because it changed the aromas a lot. It opens a lot the aromas.
All right. Let's see. I think the Sauvignon Blanc glass is winning for me.
And if you compare how the wine enters in your mouth between the third glass of Sauvignon Blanc and the Shiraz, it's quite different. Shiraz opens a little bit more, and the Sauvignon goes straight to the middle of the tongue. And it's still, and the length of the body of the wine is quite long, it's quite good.
Well, I'm going to say that definitely the one that I don't like is the glass of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
And my favorite is probably Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, I think I
cannot
agree more. I cannot agree more because I think that this shape of the Sauvignon Blanc and having the how do you call it? The rim here a little bit lower, here a little bit upper, helps a little bit the shanking and it gives a little bit more life to the wine, I think. And also the acidity at the end of the mouth is quite amazing because it comes and goes and stays and stays and stays. Quite great.
And now the next wine that we have, we actually want to emphasize a completely different thing, right? Because as you said, tasting an LBV, a ruby port, which is what we'll be tasting, you want to get the fruit mostly, right?
Let me only give you one suggestion. I was thinking about our tasting, and I will think it would be better if you start with the Tawny. Because normally the Tawnies have more acidity. They are a little different finesse of the ruby. They are more robust, more powerful. So we take the more robust and the more powerful wine to the end. Okay, not to killing the 10 years old at the end of the tasting.
All right.
So
okay. So
we are going
Tawny port then.
Yes, and as you know, as from School of Ports and from your work, as normally the aged Tawnies, 10, 20, 30, 40, normally they are wines with good acidity, a lot of freshness, and that characteristic we want to maintain in our glasses is the almond, the caramel, the freshness,
Honey.
the honey. Yeah, of course. And that's when we think in style of wine, we have to think that all the wines are the same. For example, 10 years old are all the same. So we have to think in this style of wine, with glass is better. So here we also can have some surprises also. Okay.
Okay.
So
I'm just gonna have a sip of water
yes, please.
to clean the palate a bit because I'm a professional. And all right, so we're having a 10 years old Tony now.
Yep.
As Duarte said, it's a wine where you feel a lot of the caramel and honey and dry fruits and oak,
And a lot of
but
freshness.
a lot of acidity too.
Yes. So we can do the same exercise, okay? We start with the most common port glass. We go to the riddle port glass. Then you go to Sauvignon, Shiraz, and Cabernet Sauvignon, okay?
Okay. Interesting. Now Sauvignon Blanc is not my favorite.
That's a good thing about having a lot of glasses. The only thing you have to think about is space to put all the glasses. So.
I think I'm divided.
So not to be divided, I think we have to taste all the five to see if the nose you prefer now at the end would be the most precise to you, the most precise glass to this style of port.
I was really surprised because on the nose now, I was very surprised with the Syrah glass.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting this. Weird. Okay. Oh, I love this Tony.
And this first glass is quite fresh, but at the end, I think for this style, the wine opens too much. The second one.
The second one. Yeah.
Sorry?
I was gonna say that the Sauvignon Blanc doesn't let the wine show its aromas much on the nose.
Yep. But for let me now. Yeah, it blocks a little bit of the aromas. We feel the tobacco leaf. We feel a little bit of wood, but that dry fruit we want, that caramel and honey we are looking for in the 10-year-old does not appear so much here.
Yeah.
In the mouth.
I'm surprised with the Syrah glass again.
Sorry, the Syrah again.
All right. So what's your favorite?
The Syrah is quite balanced. You can feel the aromas, the finesse, and in the mouth, we also can feel a little bit of minerality at the end of the wine. It's quite amazing. For example, this when I did this tasting with a 10-year-old Tony, was quite sweeter than this one. So the glass, I would think, should be different. But with this style, it's quite fresh. I think the Shiraz works amazingly. But I also like the Riedel port glass. This one.
Yeah.
Because this one.
Definitely.
Yeah, you feel the aromas, and when you put it in your mouth, the way he enters, he doesn't open so much as a Sauvignon Blanc. So you feel all the taste of this honey and the wood and the blend You can feel it a lot. But at the end, it's not so classy as a Syrah.
Yeah.
It's more perfect. The Syrah is more rounded, it's more... And the Cabernet, of course, the Cabernet in this wine is not. But why I put this Cabernet Glass that failed in these two first wines? Because the Cabernet Sauvignon was the first glass that Riedel created in the 70s, and is the form that is most copied in the world. All the brands in the world, or not brands, all the supermarkets, all the people that sell glassware, the shape almost all the times is Cabernet Sauvignon. That's why I bring it, and of course because of the last wine.
I really didn't know that. That's an amazing information. All right. Should we move to the next one then? Yeah. All right.
Feel the difference, yeah. It's quite amazing the difference between the five glasses.
Completely. And for those who are listening to us at home and are wondering, like, is it that easy to feel the difference, or is just because, I don't know, because we're port experts or something? It's not the case. Like, it's really easy to feel the difference. And I challenge you to do this with your family members and friends. Like, put the exact same wine in 2 or 3 completely different glasses and then ask what is their favorite one. They're not gonna know it's the same wine. It's a very interesting and fun exercise to do.
And this taste, doing this tasting is not difficult, as you said. We can do, of course, with Riedel glasses, but we also can, to introduce ourselves in a glassware, we can use different glass that we have at home, put all in a table, put the same wine, and it would be different. Or the rim is not so fine, or the shape is not the correct. But at the end, you will choose one glass, always, all the times. That's a good thing about that. Normally, when I do these tastings, I start with let's start with fiction, and let's end with reality. I think when the people think about, oh no, the wine is always the thing that matters. Of course, it's the thing that more matters. We cannot change the wine that is inside the bottle, but we can change the sensation we have with the wine that we drink. And I think that's the most important thing. And when you do this, and the people are watching at home, and when they do it, they will feel the difference, and they will start questioning when they open the next bottle. Okay, this is the right glass, or this is not the right glass.
Yeah, and that's really the message that we want to share with you guys at home. Is that well, have in mind the glass that you're drinking your wine with, because it really makes a difference. Just like the temperature of the wine. Yeah, the glass is always very different.
Yes,
sometimes
we can be harsh to a wine producer, saying that the wine is not so good, but sometimes the problem is not the wine, it's the glass.
Yeah, true.
Let's go to a Ruby. ALBV.
Yeah, so our LBV.
This should be two bodies, 12-15, a very, very warm vintage, so it should be nice.
Yeah, sure. So here we want to emphasize the fruit. It has a lot of dark red fruits, right? A lot of chocolate notes. And the fruit is it's like cooked, matured fruit, jammy notes. So it should be an interesting experience now. So let's start feeling the aromas once again. All right, so I like the port glasses.
The Sauvignon happens to disappear a little bit of the fruit.
Yeah.
And you feel a little bit more of the spirit with the Sauvignon.
The Cabernet on the nose. I like it.
Yeah, and the nose with the Cabernet is the most LBV. You feel the fruits, the freshness, a little bit of menthol.
Duarte, I'm losing you for a second. You there?
Yes, yes, I'm here. I can listen to you. Your image is freeze, but I can listen to you.
Yeah.
So, whereas Cabernet, you feel all the characteristics of a LBV. You feel the fruits, you feel the mint, a little bit of leather also, and the jam.
Yeah. Do you like the port glass for this one?
Yeah, I like the second one. I think the first one opens a little bit too much the wine, so you feel more harshness, more the tannins, more less balanced.
Correct.
The second one is good, but it's good, but in the nose, it's not the most impressive of all.
Not so good, right? Yeah.
A little bit close the nose. The Sauvignon, feel the fruit, not so much. More the leather, more the wood.
Yeah.
And in the mouth, you feel a little bit and more astringents also, yeah. In the Sauvignon glass, I feel much more harshness, much more drier. When and I think, of course, in this case, I'm still in a real port. So let's see the Shiraz and the Cabernet. This class we're talking so it's a lot of wine, but if you're talking about the full body wine, powerful wine, we need our glass to have body.
Yeah,
so you have to think a little bit more like powerful wine, okay, big glass. More acidic, more fresh, more younger wines, with less complexity. You can go for the Sauvignons, or it's all about the shape, as you see. We are drinking the same wine in totally different glasses. And the wine is the same. We did not change the wines inside, so it's always the same wine. And the difference is quite amazing. So
someone is saying on the comments now that traditional port glasses are too small. I think that I probably think the same now that we're doing this experiment. Maybe not for all ports, but some ports definitely are a bit, well, they don't show all the potential they have with the shape and size of the port glasses. So it's interesting that we kind of start destroying these fixated ideas about size. And the Shiraz glass, it's kind of surprising me again.
This why, because in this LBV you should have a lot of Touriga Nacional. And normally the aromas of Touriga Nacional, not in terms of all the grape, but in terms of chemical compounds, the terpenics and other compounds, they are quite similar. They are quite different grapes. They are quite different styles of wine they produce. But in terms of shape aromas, they are quite similar. Okay. Another thing is quite important is when you see all these glasses and you choose one, you have to think about what you are going to drink first. Then you think about the wine. And if you have the glasses, if you have doubts, pick the 3 glasses and mix before having a meal, for example, so you can have a proper meal. And another thing is very, very, very important is people in the port business and the consumers in the port business has to treat the port wine more than a wine than it's the port, because the world of port is quite rich. We have quite of different styles, quite of different producers, and to be fair, we cannot see always port as something special. Of course, it's special comes from Douro, and of course, it's special is the oldest region in the world, and of the styles and all that turns the port special. But as a liquid, as a product, it's a wine. So we can open the range of glasses we can use in ports, depending, of course, the styles, and not to be strict with only one glass to drink port.
Absolutely. We, as the School of Port, we couldn't agree more. We think that we don't have to be necessarily attached to a specific type of glass. Especially because port is such a diverse category. We have so many different wines, so many different styles, that what works with a particular style doesn't have to work with another style or all the styles. So definitely know the wine, know your port first, and then experiment, as you were saying, try different glasses and see what you prefer.
Yeah,
so this has been.
If you do that, it's quite enjoyable. It's a quite happy moment at home with friends, with the same wine, different glasses. You can play a lot with that, and we can all have different opinions. That's why the thing is good about the glasses and the wines. We don't have to have the same opinion. We don't have the same taste. So we have to see which glass to our wine suits us better.
Completely, yeah, I agree.
We finished the Cabernet. The Cabernet in the nose feels like a wine. It doesn't feel like a port wine, almost. It's amazing. I have my doubts, which is my favorite glass, because if we can have, for example, the nose of a Cabernet in the form of a Shiraz in a mouth, could be like heaven almost, because I think the better nose undoubtedly is the Cabernet. Is all you feel all the characteristics of a pure LBV and a ruby port. A lot of concentration, a lot of fruits, jam, freshness is amazing. But I don't know if it is a lot to think about, because when he enters in the mouth and it opens a lot, but it's not harsh. It's quite fresh. It's quite mineral. I think it's an amazing glass. I think he can do a proper job to a ruby port. And this Shiraz, for me, of course, in the nose is a lot of finesse, but I think we lose a little bit of the fruit, and we lose a little bit of the power of that fruit.
I think I'm still a bit divided between the Shiraz and the Cabernet Sauvignon. I don't know which one to pick. But it's interesting because I'm just thinking we kind of chose different glasses for each of the bottles, right? For each of the wines.
Yeah. We went to the first one, the extra dry. We went to a Sauvignon glass type of glass. To the 10-year-old Sony, use Shiraz, a little bit open, but at the end narrow, because of the acidity and all. And for the full-bodied wine, we use the Cabernet.
Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yes.
This has been a really, really interesting experiment.
it's quite a new world. It's quite different if we think about it, because normally we only think about drinking or the labels or the producers. Normally the glass comes at the end of the business. But nowadays, with the
Yeah, but
doing amazing work, the restaurants now in the last few years they think more and more about the proper glass for the proper sensation. So it's amazing, as you said. We go with us to the white port. We go this to age story, and we go
mhm,
with a ruby. But one thing is important: don't be close. Don't be close with all with these three classes, because as we said, a 10-year-old Tony is different from all the houses. The rubies
mhm.
one are more sugary, other are acidity. So the different 10-year-old Tonys can go with other classes, but we have to taste it. We only have this example. In this case, we can also think that H Tonys acidity is a more narrow class. Full body, more full body, also glass, big glass to taste
Exactly.
the fruitiness. And to the whites, of course, we have to think in an extra dry port or even a fine white port or a reserve white ports. We want the nose, we want the freshness, we want the life of the wine. So normally we go to the Sauvignon Blanc.
Absolutely. Duarte, our time is almost over. I wanted to thank you so much for participating in this live. I guess that we learned so much, me included and everyone who's watching us at home. Thank you for being with us. And for all of you that are watching at home, don't forget to play a bit with your housemates and do this type of challenges, this type of games. Try the same wine in different glasses. It's a very interesting experiment. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have enjoyed and I hope that you learned something with us today. And keep sending your questions and your suggestions, and don't forget to stay tuned at School of Port, brought to you by the Portmad people at Symington Family Estates. Thanks. Bye, Duarte. Thank you so much.
Invitation, Nicole. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.